Hey guys, today I wanted to make a quick video on a game that really stuck with me in my shmup journey. I started playing shmups about 6 months ago, and Crimzon Clover World Explosion had a really big impact on me. It's a game that I really enjoy, and of course it's a great game in its own right. The gameplay is fantastic, the presentation is amazing, but there's also something different about this game. When I started playing, I tried other amazing shmups, cave games for instance, and it didn't immediately click with me. I didn't immediately get it. Crimzon Clover, however, is very good at teaching new players how to enjoy shmups. And this is great for such a genre that is so hard to get into. I think it's a great thing. So I wanted to do this video to highlight some of the things that the game does to help out new players, or at least teach them how to enjoy shmups. And beginners in shmups tend to struggle a lot more compared to other genres. So this is a type of game that requires a lot of focus, takes a lot of practice to really get anywhere, to be honest, and where you are constantly losing. So no matter how good you are, it can sometimes feel pretty bad. And it is very easy to take a look at other people's accomplishments online because you only see the good runs, you only see their successes, you don't see the bad times. That it's very easy to feel like you're doing terrible, or that you just suck and you're wasting your time. The first thing that this game does to help out new players is it has unlockable. There's an unlockable ship in the game, and it is the strongest in the game by far. And you get it by just playing the game, no matter how well you're doing. As you play, you accumulate stars. You can see them at the bottom left. I have a lot because I've played this game a crazy long time. Locking gameplay options behind time investment, I feel, is always a bit of a tricky subject, especially for experts. But in this case, I think it was a great decision to help beginners get invested a bit more into the game, because as a beginner, I remember feeling like the game was telling me that I was at least making some level of progress, and that I was not completely wasting my time on this. So it was a good feeling for me. And there are many other great things that this game does. So I'll launch a replay with that unlockable ship Type Z on the Novice mode, because the Novice mode of this game is fantastic. So it is, you get Novice modes on a lot of games these days, but this one is very balanced, unlike in most shmups. And if you're completely new, it should take you anywhere between 5 to maybe 10 hours to beat it. So you still get challenged, you still need to learn the game, but instead of making the game way too easy, which some developers are unfortunately guilty of in this genre, because they're trying to make it too accessible, but then you don't really learn anything, you don't really get anything out of it, like in the super easy modes in some compilations. They're nice, they're making an attempt, but this one is so much better. Instead of making the game too easy, what it does is it showers you with resources and life extends. And the reason why this is good is because it gives you room to make mistakes. It gives you room to experiment and to learn what you should be doing and what you should not be doing, which for a beginner is really difficult to learn. It's really really hard to get shmups in the beginning. There are so many things happening, they seem so punishing. So I feel like this helps a lot. And once you're done with Novice mode, they've also added an Arrange mode, which plays completely differently, but acts as an intermediary between the Novice mode, that's kind of easy, but still a good challenge for new players. And the arcade mode, which that one is pretty tough, I have to say. Another thing that the game does, which is great, which you might have seen when I showed the screen before, is the sort of achievement system. It gives you trophies, so it keeps track of all your progress in the game and overall progress across ships and also across modes. And when you reach a new stage or a new boss, you get a medal. So you start out with bronze and then move on to silver, all the way to the gold trophy when you finally finish the game and get the 1cc. This is always displayed on the UI, so even when you're playing, you get to see your medals, which is important. And when you unlock a new one, you get a sound like a casino-like sound that feels, really pleasant. This is important because it teaches new players how to break down the journey, how to set up goals and enjoy every small victory. Because if you can't do that, and if you focus too much on getting the 1cc, clearing the game on one continue, you're going to have a very, very bad time. And you'll probably give up at some point. Those games, when you play shmups, you spend most of your time losing. So you have to revel in the small victories. I'd say. And this is really important because personally it was something that I didn't really get before, but now I understand, and now I'm able to find joy in, just beating my personal best. Getting to a new stage, getting to a new boss is always a good feeling, even though I don't end up clearing the game most times. And so I wish more shmups had the same sort of achievement system, because it also pushed me to try different ships, try different modes, which I might not have done otherwise. Another thing the game does, I don't have a way to show this easily, but another thing the game does is it gives you pity extends. This, I know this applies to arcade mode. I can't remember if it's also in Novice mode, but if you beat certain meat bosses at the middle of a level, when you have no life left, the game will give you an extend to keep things interesting. And I think this is brilliant design. They only give it to you if you have no life left, and they pretty much, the game gives it to you to keep things interesting, because otherwise, it means you might have to restart, because it's a pretty tough game and you need more than one life to clear it most of the time. So what happens in a lot of other shmups is people end up getting stuck in restart hell. They, when they lose too many lives, they'll restart the game because they feel they won't have a chance to clear. So this game addresses that, and it pretty much tells you to, keep playing, because you never know, you might clear. And to be honest, I think it's a fair point, because when I finally got my arcade original clear, which is the one we're watching right now, when I got that one, it was not actually on one of my best runs. I actually lost 1 or 2 lives in stage 4. I thought I wouldn't never be able to clear the game on that run. I just kept running, just in case, to enjoy the game, to learn a bit more. And I ended up clearing it for the first time after so many hours. So that was a good feeling, but it's also good design because it feels a bit more dynamic. See, you never really feel like you don't stand a chance, which is a good feeling. And I think it's a great thing especially for beginners. The game is telling you, it's okay to make mistakes, keep playing, keep learning. Another thing it does that I can't show you right now is it makes the true last boss, the TLB, only accessible on a 1cc. So it means you have to finish the game with a single credit, otherwise you can't see the true last boss and you can't get the true ending. And I think this is also good design, because it gives you a goal to reach for. It keeps, even though it helps you out and encourages you to learn the game and keep playing, but it also keeps you aware of what the end goal is in most of those games, and that is the 1cc. Most people playing shmups are going for 1cc's or score, but that means it's pushing for you to finish the game on a single credit. So that means you're getting better because you're trying for that, to see all of the content in the game. And the true last boss is pretty amazing in this. So it's a good reward. And then finally, I'd say the last thing that this game does that is pretty interesting, and I never really see people talking about it. And that's... So hold on, I need to get online for this. That's the fact that so you have online leaderboards, of course, but they're not just for the entire game and all the stage. One thing the game does is it saves your score for stage 1 as well, which I think is very interesting. So these are the rankings: Type Z, Arcade, Original, but just for the first stage, not the entire game. So they might be different from the end goal. I'm ranked pretty bad. I'm pretty bad at stage 1. But the reason why this is interesting is because if you've ever grinded a shmup to get a 1cc, you'll know that it gets very repetitive to repeat the first few stages. They can get tedious because you know them by heart. They're usually the easiest stages in the game, so they can get boring. What this game does is it always compare your score in stage 1 versus your previous runs, and it tells you, at the end of the game, if you've beaten your stage 1 score. So you can, for instance, you can get your third personal best on the whole game, but you may actually beat your personal best for stage 1, which still, it gives you something to aim for when you restart the game. You can just do your best. It almost feels like they incorporated a small score competition within the game, with just the first stage. So almost like a small caravan game, like a caravan mode when you're playing the entire game. And I think this is really cool because it also pushes players to beat their score in specific sections or specific stages. And again, it gives you the feeling that you're making progress. You're not just banging your head on a wall. And also it shows, if you look at super players playing shmups, when they aim for score, what they do is they also break down the game in sections or stages rather than just play the entire game over and over. And so, it also sort of teaches you the proper way to learn how to play for score. So I think this game does many small things that are not ever really talked about to make it a more enjoyable experience for beginners, and also to pretty much guide them along the path about what makes shmups fun, what makes them interesting, what makes them different from other games. And here I'm not even talking about the actual gameplay itself, which is amazing, but we don't really have the time to get into that in this video. So, for a lot of those things, I think it's no surprise that this game gets it right because it was developed by a super player. And a player that's amazing in cave games and obviously knows the community. And he probably also knows the potential barriers, the pitfalls that new players face, because, when beginners start playing shmups, I get the feeling that a lot of them give up because the games are so hard. Yeah, I think this game is very special for this. So in short, I'd say buy Crimzon Clover World Explosion if you haven't done so already, because not only is it one of the best shmups out there ever created, I think. I haven't played all of them, but I can tell this one is special. It also does a lot of things right to make the genre more accessible, or at least to make itself more accessible. And what's interesting is most shmups, they actually only do just the bare minimum in this regard. So this is a special game. Try it if you're even slightly interested in shmups, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Thanks for listening to me. And if you like the video, of course, like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.